The Boys Season 5, Episode 7 might be the best episode of the season.
That was a fucking knockout.
Depending on how you're liking this season, take that how you will. We had a ton of stuff in this episode. Frenchie's death scene actually had me emotional. Butcher and Huey back together. Homelander is finally in the Oval Office. And again, we had allegory after allegory, estimations that each episode were around $11 to $12 million. And we're getting direct references to Taylor Sheridan shows. Let's get into it. I'm Brandon, and welcome back to Screen Wars. The episode begins with Oh Father, a ridiculous musical scene, just blasphemous debauchery. That's all I can say. It's just, I guess while doing research for this video, this guy was in Hamilton, so they probably cast him for this reason. It was a big musical number, basically saying Homelander is the new Jesus. And I will admit, the song was a little bit catchy, and I was like, dang, this song is kind of catchy.
Raise him up, raise him high.
But again, this musical number is another direct allegory to the real world. There's literally a lyric in the song that talks about healing lepers, not curing open borders. Then we cut to Homelander's boots on the desk of the Oval Office. This is the moment comic book readers have been waiting for, since the comic book ends with Homelander making his move on the White House. The show gets there in a completely different way. It is nothing like the comics. President Calhoun walks in and tells Homelander to use the office as long as he needs. Homelander starts listing his new agenda: national religion, troops into sanctuary cities, abortion bans by executive order, mandatory breastfeeding, and a nut milk ban.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making you think nuts were milk.
The president says that he can't dissolve Congress, and he doesn't have the authority to do that. Homelander has Ashley read his mind to see if he's a true believer in Homelander. And of course, like most people, he's not. And Homelander just pops his head like a balloon in the middle of the Oval Office. Ashley is now the president of the United States. Her in the back of her head get into an argument and basically agree to never speak again. And Ashley gets what she's always wanted: power. Then we cut to one of the stupidest scenes in the whole season, in my opinion. We get the Gen V cameo, which we all knew was coming in this show. A show that I didn't even watch. I had to do research on because I wasn't watching that show just to film these videos. 2 full seasons of this show to set up this character as the anti-Homelander. I didn't even know that. She's the anti-Homelander, the chosen one. A god-tier soup who could actually match his power. And when Annie and Mother's Milk meet up with her, you're like expected to know who this is and to know her powers, and it's just like the weirdest, cringiest scene. Annie tells him to go home. Mother's Milk has a line: what use is all this power if she can't control it? And that's the one line where you're supposed to gather that this girl is a super powerful soup, and she could potentially help them kill Homelander. And there were rumors online that she was actually going to be the one to kill Homelander because Gen V was supposed to be like a super success. It was supposed to be a crossover. She was supposed to come into the Boys and eventually kill Homelander. But I think the fans hated that idea so much that they're kind of backing away from that now. And I 100% agree with that decision, but it just means that they wasted 2 seasons of a show, I'm sure millions upon millions of dollars, on a character that nobody cares about. Homelander disbands the Seven, the Deep, who has literally done everything that Homelander has ever asked of him. He killed Black Noir, sold out everybody he's ever cared about, killed billions of fish for Homelander, gets dropped without a second thought. He basically gets on his knees and starts begging Homelander to just let him have control of the Seven, but Homelander says no, all they need is him. The Deep goes to a pier and tries to go home to the ocean. A hammerhead shark voiced by Samuel L. Jackson tells him if he steps foot in any water, a pond or a river, a lake, that the fish are going to kill him.
You are dead to us, bitch ass.
And this is actually one of the better ironic endings for a character that this show has written. The Deep traded everything for Homelander's approval, and Homelander threw him in the trash. He sits there and watches a man drown, refusing to help him. And that's almost certainly going to be his demise in the next episode. He's going to eventually go in the water and get killed by the fish. Homelander is showing Soldier Boy blueprints for Homeland, Vaught's Disney World, with Soldier Boy's Father of God themed park with a statue of him out front. And Soldier Boy isn't interested. He gave Homelander the V1 for Clara, not for Homelander. And he basically tells Homelander he's not interested in being with him at all, and he just wants to disappear and go on vacation. The acting in these scenes were on point. Anthony Starr, his facial expressions when Soldier Boy is telling Homelander that, you know, he wants to basically leave him, and he's telling him he's not a god. Just great acting. So Homelander does what he always does, and he grabs Soldier Boy from behind and basically chokes him unconscious and puts him back in the cryo chamber. Really stupid scene, in my opinion. I don't understand why Soldier Boy didn't fight back at all, or they just didn't make him fight back for the sake of time. But yeah, he just gets choked out instantly and then is back in the cryo chamber. And this could also be a setup for the finale. Somebody is inevitably going to let Soldier Boy out, and he's going to turn on Homelander again. Maybe Ryan. Then we cut to Vought Studios. Butcher and Huey get grabbed by Synapse, the psychic soup Homelander has on retainer. Synapse gets in Butcher's head and turns off his soup abilities. He also uses his powers to turn into Negan from The Walking Dead, and Synapse tells Huey the story about a mission Butcher ran in the CIA, where his whole team died, but he completed the objective. Huey then starts thinking of the images of Synapse's own murdered brother. And the distraction is enough for Butcher to get his powers back and to rip Synapse in half. This scene does two things at once, and I really enjoyed it. First, it foreshadows Butcher's demise. In the comic books, Butcher actually does go too far, and Huey has to be the one to stop. And second, it put Butcher and Huey back into their season 1, which season 1 was objectively the best season of this show. While they were at Vought Studios, Butcher and Huey walked past a show being filmed called The American Eagle, starring the Hawkeye parody character, Eagle the Archer. The Worm is directing, the Worm complains, and a direct quote from the episode.
The Taylor Sheridan AI wrote the thing and it does not take notes.
Taylor Sheridan is one of the most successful television writers working in the business today. The creator of Yellowstone, Tulsa King, Landman, 1923, 1883, basically the entire television viewing of right-wing America. And The Boys is spending $12 million to make fun of this guy. Imagine getting $90 million to make a show and you're injecting every single allegory you can, and then not even making it allegory, you're just making fun of people in real life. A guy whose audience you used to share yourself, because a lot of Supernatural fans are fans of Yellowstone and all of those shows. And I'm definitely not telling you what to think about politics whatsoever. I'm just telling you that this show has changed from season 1. The politics served the story and moved it forward. And now everything is just allegories, just to make a joke about the real world. And then we get back to O-Father, who assembled 30 Homelander superfans, algorithm confirmed true believers, to test the new Homelander is God promo video. And again, just blasphemous debauchery. We get Jesus coming down and talking with Homelander, giving him his crown and passing the torch on to Homelander. Jesus tells him that he couldn't do it, and now Homelander has to do it. Meanwhile, while these 30 superfans are watching the film, Homelander has a bunch of psychics going around the room, reading everybody's mind. And out of 30, only 6 of them actually believe the video and believe that Homelander was the new god. You guessed it, Homelander's response was to kill all of them. Mother's Milk and Starlight, hiding nearby, save the focus group. She-Line and Dognot come in just after sniffing each other's butts.
You went Chipotle for lunch. Carne asada bowl with extra guac.
To kill the focus group. Mother's Milk kills She-Line with a rat distraction, and Annie takes out Dognot. And then we get Mother's Milk's speech to Annie. He explains how he got the name Mother's Milk. Then we get to the climax of the entire episode. While all of this is going on, Frenchie is trying to get Sage to help him weaponize Kamiko. The plan is to irradiate Kamiko with the same uranium device that gave Soulja Boy his depowering blast. Her healing powers protect her. She becomes the weapon that can strip Homelander of his powers. But Sage is wallowing in her own depression and lobotomizing herself watching Love Island. Soulja Boy giving Homelander the V1 shattered her worldview, which again was the dumbest thing ever for the smartest woman in the world. Sage tells Frenchie that love is her ultimate weakness. Again, the stupidest thing ever. She explains that love makes you do illogical things that are unpredictable. Sage finally agrees to help. The early warning system trips. Homelander is detected on the roof. There's no time to escape. Frenchie hides Sage and Kamiko into a zinc line vent. Another thing that I had totally forgotten about this show, I had forgot that zinc blocked his X-ray powers. I don't know why more people in the show weren't using this throughout the whole entire show. We then only see his boots coming up the stairs. He gets closer to the vent, and as he starts approaching the vent, Frenchie taps on the wall ever so lightly, and Homelander's in front of him. Frenchie turns on the uranium chamber. He knows it's a death sentence for himself, but for the first time in 5 seasons, he finally gets to watch Homelander bleed. Then Frenchie looks up at Homelander and starts laughing, gives him the finger, and says, "I bet you've never danced a day in your life." Homelander, a person who has literally all of the power in the world, has never actually had any joy. And he knows that. Frenchie dying has lived a better life than Homelander will ever live. And you can tell the insult cuts him deeper than the radiation is even hurting. Homelander eventually decides to leave. Kamiko busts through the vent to find Frenchie crawling on the floor. She tells him thank you for saving her life. He tells her no, she saved him. He kisses her and he dies in her arms. Butcher and Huey arrive seconds too late. And that's the episode. And this scene was very powerful. It had me emotional. When you watch a show for 5 seasons or like 7 or 8 years of the same characters in love the entire time, when one of them dies, you know, it hit. Whatever gripes I have with how the show turned out, this was a good scene. The pacing, the silence, the song choice. So here's where we are with 1 episode left. Homelander has Soulja Boy locked in a freezer. He lost Sage to the boys. He lost the 7 by his own hand. He lost the focus group, the true believers. He's finally gained immortality, but has less people around him than he ever had. Frenchie's sacrifice does 2 things for the finale. Nico now has the depowering ability. The boys finally have a real way to defeat Homelander for the first time in 5 seasons. So they're setting up Kamiko taking away Homelander's powers and Butcher or Ryan or somebody else finishing the job. So my predictions for the finale are going to be that Homelander introduces this video of him becoming God, probably at his mega church. The boys will inevitably come in with Kamiko, attack, and try to depower him. Ryan will have to show up in the finale. to help the boys defeat Homelander. He's probably going to be the one to free Soulja Boy from the cryo chamber. Butcher is definitely going to die. They've been setting that up for 3 seasons. Huey's gonna live. I think Andy's gonna live. I think Mother's Milk is probably going to live and get back with his family. The Deep is going to try to go back in the water and get killed by fish, or publicly executed when people see the video of him running away from helping somebody and letting an old man drown right in front of him. So again, this episode was one of the better episodes of this season so far. I think they did the Frenchie death in the best way that they could. The Butcher and Huey dynamic is back to the season 1. I think whether you like the show or dislike the show, we can all agree that it's not what it was in 2019 when it first premiered. I think when the show forgets allegories and politics for like 10 minutes, the scenes are much, much better. And then you remember what the show could have been the entire time. But there is one episode, the finale, left. And we'll see what happens, how they tie it all together. But I really want to know what you guys think. Where do you think this show is going to go? Did you like this episode? What did you think of the Frenchie death? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to hear it all. If you made it this far in the video, drop a like. Consider subscribing to the channel because we have a lot more videos coming your way. But until then, I'm Brandon. This is Screen Wars, and we'll see you in the next one.